The galaxy had always been loud. Every day thousands of signals moved between star systems. Warnings, trade news, greetings, music, stories, engine codes, and sometimes even arguments between old rivals. To Captain Rhea Voss, the sound of this cosmic noise was normal. She heard it every day at the Helios Array, the deepest human observatory built near the edge of the Milky Way. But on a cold morning, when the lights dimmed and the stars outside looked dull, Rhea noticed something wrong. A sector that was always full of signals had gone silent. She stared at the console. "No," she whispered. "This can't be right." Lieutenant Harrow, her second officer, rolled his chair beside her. "Is it a system failure?" Rhea shook her head slowly. "I ran the check twice. It's not us." They replayed the signal logs. 3 hours ago, the sector known as Caro Delta was active, full of communication from 20 small worlds. 2 hours ago, the signals began to drop. One world went silent, then a second, then a third. Now, all 20 were gone. No distress call. No last message. Nothing. As if someone had pressed a hand over their mouths and turned them into emptiness. Rhea felt her heartbeat rise. She sent a quick priority scan. The system responded with only one line. No sources detected. That was impossible. Worlds did not just vanish. Civilizations did not simply blink out, unless something made them blink out. Harrow swallowed hard. "Captain, do we report this to the Galactic Council?" Rhea looked out the window at the giant violet star burning in the distance. The Council rarely trusted humans. They saw Earth as young, impulsive, and too confident. Still, this discovery was too large to hide. "Yes," Rhea said. "Send a report. They need to see this." Harrow sent the data. Rhea waited. The reply came 10 minutes later. A single sentence. "Your equipment is malfunctioning. Do not spread false alarms." Rhea closed her eyes with frustration. The Council didn't believe them. No surprise. But she knew what she saw. Hours later, while she checked the traces again, Harrow shouted from his station, "Captain, another sector is dropping." Rhea rushed to the screen. 3 red circles flashed on the star map. Another region had gone dark. This one was bigger. 7 worlds. Gone in under 2 minutes. No signals. No escape ships. No debris. Just emptiness. Rhea sent a new message to the Council. No answer came back. She stared at the black dots spreading on the map like a growing wound. Something was moving through the galaxy. Something fast, silent, and brutal. She needed proof. Something the Council could not dismiss. "Prepare the long-range visual scope," she ordered. Her team connected the array to a deep visual stream. A large screen lit up. Rhea focused on Aquila 9, a bright white star near the region that had just fallen silent. She knew the planet around that star. A friendly species lived there. Peaceful. Kind. They traded art and water crystals with humans. Rhea zoomed in. The star flickered. "Wait," Harrow whispered. The star pulsed again. Harder this time. The light stretched. Twisted. The center of the star went white, then blue, then... The entire star folded in on itself and vanished. There was no explosion. No fire. No shockwave. It just disappeared. The screen turned dark. Harrow stumbled back. "Captain, that was a living star. How can it just be gone?" Rhea didn't answer. Her voice felt trapped in her chest. She had seen many strange things in her life, but nothing like this. The Galactic Council now had no choice but to respond. Her console chimed. A burst of voices filled the Helios Array. Panicked, shouting, overlapping. "Who did this? Was it a weapon? Is this a human trick?" "Impossible. Stars do not simply vanish." Rhea stepped forward and spoke. "This is not a human weapon. This is something else. Something that can silence entire regions and erase stars." The Council quieted. One voice finally asked, "Captain, what do you think is happening?" Rhea stared at the dark screen, her face lit only by the faint glow of dying stars on the map. I think something is moving through our galaxy, she said. And it is removing everything in its path. A long silence followed. Then another council member spoke with fear trembling in his voice. What do you expect us to do? Rhea did not hesitate. Prepare. Move. Fight. Anything. But the council members only argued again. Accusing, blaming, shouting. Rhea muted the channel. If they would not act, if they only wanted to talk, then Earth would have to do something alone. She opened a private channel to Earth Command. This is Captain Rhea Voss. I have an emergency message. Her voice was firm now, clear, unshaken. The galaxy faces a threat no one understands. The Council will not help. We must prepare our own response. The line stayed silent for a moment. Then Earth Command replied with 4 words. We hear you, Captain. Rhea exhaled slowly. In that moment, she understood the truth. If no one else would stand up, if no one else would protect the galaxy, then humanity would. And the stars, once loud and bright, began falling silent, one after another. But humans would not be silent. Not now. Not ever. The message from Earth Command repeated in Rhea's mind long after the screen dimmed. We hear you, Captain. Those 4 words carried a weight she had never felt before. It meant Earth understood the danger. It meant Earth was ready to move, even if the rest of the galaxy refused. Rhea walked through the silent corridors of the Helios array. Her steps echoed on the metal floor. Most of the crew had stayed awake through the night shift. No one could sleep after watching a star disappear. No one could forget how the Council shouted at each other like scared children. But humans were not arguing. They were preparing. Lieutenant Harrow joined her again. His face looked tired, but his voice was steady. Earth Command wants a full report. They're gathering leaders in an emergency meeting. Rhea nodded. Good. They need every detail. As she entered the command hall, her crew stood ready at their stations. The large map stretched across the screen, showing the spreading darkness in the galaxy. Red dots marked the vanished sectors. Blue dots marked the nearby living ones, shrinking every hour. The threat was moving, and it was closing in. Rhea activated a private secure link with Earth Command. The face of Admiral Juno, head of Earth Defense, appeared. His jaw was tense, and his eyes showed he had not slept either. Captain Voss, he began. We received your visuals. There is no doubt. Something is removing stars. Rhea spoke carefully. It's not just stars. Entire civilizations vanish minutes before. The enemy strikes, drains everything, and leaves nothing. Admiral Juno took a deep breath. We warned the Council for years. They always ignored us. Now they see the truth. What are your orders? Rhea asked. He leaned forward. Project Resolve is active. Rhea froze. Project Resolve was Earth's most secret plan. It had been prepared quietly for decades, hidden from the Council. A defense plan, and a last resort. You're waking it? Rhea whispered. We have no choice. Other species are waiting for someone else to save them. We cannot wait. His voice hardened. If the galaxy won't move, then humanity will. Rhea felt a strange mix inside her. Fear, resolve, duty, and something else she couldn't name. What do you need from the Helios array? She asked. Everything. Your data. Your scans. Your predictions. And Captain, he paused. We need you. Rhea straightened. I'm ready. Good. You'll lead the first contact fleet. The message ended. Harrow looked at her. Captain, they're sending you to lead the mission? You'll be the first to face whatever is doing this. Rhea closed her eyes for a brief moment. She felt the weight, the responsibility, the danger. But this was not a time to fear. This was a time to act. Yes, she said. Prepare the array for departure. We're leaving. But the Council can stay and argue. We have work to do. Harrow nodded with determination. And for the first time since the stars started vanishing, Rhea saw strength returning to her crew's faces. Within hours, a small transport ship arrived from Earth. It carried new orders, new equipment, and a message that sent chills down Rhea's spine. Vanguard Fleet activated. Every officer in the room reacted. The Vanguard Fleet was a myth to most people. A hidden set of advanced strike ships, built for one purpose: to do the things no one else dared. Rhea stepped onto the transport, feeling the ship shake as it detached from the array. Through the window, she saw her old station shrinking behind her. The Helios array had been her home for 8 years. Now it felt like a memory fading too fast. The transport raced toward Earth's hidden dockyard. As they approached, an enormous shadow emerged from darkness. A massive ship, black, silent, shaped like a spear, pointed at the unknown. Rhea whispered, "What is that?" Harrow stared in awe. "It's beautiful." The ship's name glowed faintly across its side. Horizon's Edge. A new human flagship. A ship built not for war, but for survival of everything that breathed. Inside the dockyard, engineers, soldiers, scientists, and officers moved with speed. No panic. No confusion. Only purpose. Rhea walked across the ramp, her boots clicking against the metal floor. Admiral Juno met her in person. "Captain Voss," he said, "this ship is yours now." Rhea touched the cold steel of the hull. It felt alive under her hand. "What's her mission?" she asked. Juno looked her straight in the eyes. "To find the source of the attacks. To learn what the enemy is. To stop it if possible. And if not," he paused, "to buy humanity enough time to protect the remaining stars." Rhea felt the gravity of his words. She nodded. "When do we depart?" "Immediately. Every minute we wait, another sector falls." Rhea turned to her new ship. "Then let's move." Hours later, Horizon's Edge drifted into the open stars. The crew settled into their stations. The engines hummed with a deep power Rhea had never felt before. She stood on the command deck, looking at the star map. More red dots. More silence. More fear. But humans were not running. Not this time. "Set course," Rhea ordered. "We're heading toward the last vanished sector." The engines roared. Horizon's Edge leapt into the dark, chasing the threat that silenced the stars. Humanity had made its decision. If the galaxy would not act, then humans would. Alone, if necessary. Horizon's Edge cut through the dark like a silent arrow. The ship carried the strongest engines humans had ever built, yet the space ahead felt heavier than usual, almost as if something unseen waited there. Captain Rhea Voss stood at the center of the command deck. The red dots on the star map continued to spread, marking vanished regions. Every hour, another world went silent. Her crew worked without speaking. Everyone felt the same pressure. Each second counted. "Captain," Harrow called from the sensor station. "We're entering the outer line of the last silent sector." Rhea moved to the front window. A strange haze floated in the distance, like smoke drifting in space. "No stars," she murmured. "Not a single one." The darkness was thick, heavy. Wrong. Harrow swallowed. This sector had 32 active colonies. Now, nothing. Rhea felt a shiver crawl down her spine. She steadied her voice. "Bring long-range scanners online. We need every detail." The crew activated the scanners. The screen filled with static. Rhea frowned. "Adjust frequency." Still static. Harrow tried again, switching through every known channel. Nothing. The system refused to lock onto anything. "It's like space itself is blocking the signal," he said quietly. Rhea turned to him. "Space doesn't block signals." Harrow whispered, "Until now." Minutes later, a broken world appeared on the main display. It was once a green planet, full of forests and blue lakes. Now it looked burned. Scars stretched across its surface like deep black cracks. Entire continents were missing, as if someone had sliced pieces of the planet away. Rhea felt her breath catch. What happened here? Harrow zoomed in on the scars. They weren't random. They formed patterns, long, curved lines, each one burned with impossible precision. "Captain," Harrow said, voice shaking. "Those marks, they weren't made by weapons." Rhea leaned closer. "Then what made them?" Harrow hesitated. Something that cuts reality itself. The bridge fell silent. Rhea spoke slowly, choosing her words. Prepare a full scan of the planet. Look for survivors, signals, anything. The scan swept across the planet. No life. No energy. No heat. Just cold, empty stone. Captain, another officer said, I found something unusual in orbit. A faint distortion floated near the planet, almost invisible, like a ripple in water. Rhea narrowed her eyes. Magnify. The ripple grew on the screen. It wasn't metal. It wasn't organic. It wasn't anything known. It looked like a shadow with no source, bending light around itself in unnatural ways. What is that? Harrow whispered. Before Rhea could answer, the distortion twitched. A spark ran across the ship's sensors. Captain, energy spike. Harrow shouted. Brace for impact. A blast of invisible force smashed into Horizon's edge. The crew stumbled. Panels flickered. Rhea gripped the railing. Shields. Shields holding, but barely, an officer replied. The distortion doubled in size, twisting like something was unfolding from inside it. Rhea stared at the screen. Is that a ship? No known design, Harrow responded. I can't define its shape. It keeps changing. The distortion suddenly split into 3 shapes, each one flickering like ghosts. They moved without engine trails, without sound, without logic. One of the shapes drifted close. A deep vibration filled the ship, like a voice buried under mountains. The shape spoke. It did not speak in words, yet every person on the bridge heard it clearly in their mind. You are the first to detect us. Every heartbeat on the ship froze. The voice continued, dark and cold. That is unfortunate for you. The distortion surged. A wave of black energy shot forward. Evasive. Rhea shouted. Horizon's edge rolled hard to the right. The energy beam scraped past the hull, shaking the entire ship. Fire counterpulse, she commanded. The ship launched a burst of gravitational force. The dark shapes rippled, but they did not break. Harrow stared at his screen with terror. Captain, they're not using space the same way we do. They bend it like cloth. Rhea clenched her fists. Then find something they can't bend. The shapes attacked again, surrounding the ship. Each strike tore through the shields like claws. Shields at 40%. Engines overheating. Hull stress rising. Horizon's edge groaned under the pressure. One shape floated directly in front of the bridge window, expanding into a huge swirling mass. A faint, circular light glowed inside it, like a single eye staring at them. Rhea stepped forward without fear. What are you? She demanded. The answer poured into their minds like ice water. We are the ones who clean the galaxy. Noise is not allowed. Life is noise. Rhea's blood went cold. The shape moved to strike. Full thrust, she ordered. Horizon's edge blasted downward, slipping under the attack. The ship sped between the shapes and escaped into open space. The shadows chased them for several minutes, then suddenly stopped. They turned back toward the dead planet, as if humans were not worth the effort. Rhea watched the sensors carefully. Why did they stop? Harrow exhaled shakily. They don't see us as a threat. Rhea stood tall. Good, she said, because now we know where to strike next. For the first time since the stars began disappearing, the enemy had revealed itself. But the deeper truth frightened her more. They didn't just destroy life. They believed they were cleaning the galaxy. And now, they knew humans could see them. The shadows did not follow Horizon's edge for long, but the fear they left behind stayed deep inside every crew member. Their cold message echoed again and again. Life is noise. We clean the galaxy. Rhea stood on the dim bridge, watching the dark shapes drift back toward the ruined planet. They don't fear us, she said quietly. Harrow nodded. They think we can't fight them. A quiet anger rose inside her. They had erased worlds, wiped out stars, and called it cleaning. If the galaxy was too scared to act, then humans would not freeze. She turned sharply. Set a course away from this sector. We need to regroup. As Horizon's edge moved into safer space, the The crew worked at full speed. Engineers pulled apart damaged panels. Scientists examined the strange energy left behind by the enemy. Tension filled the air, but something else grew too. Purpose. Rhea entered the strategy chamber where a group of officers waited. A large holographic map showed the destroyed regions, now wider than before. "We need a way to trap them," Rhea began. "They move through folded space. They bend physics. Normal weapons won't work." Harrow shook his head. "Captain, how do you trap something that doesn't follow the rules?" Rhea let the question hang for a moment. "You make a new rule." Confused faces filled the room. Rhea activated a new file, one she was not supposed to reveal. "This," she said, "is Project StarNet." A long blue structure appeared above the map. It looked like a glowing chain wrapped in loops and knots. One officer whispered, "We weren't supposed to use that. The Council banned it." Rhea answered firmly, "The Council isn't fighting this war. We are." The StarNet was originally designed by human scientists years ago. A defense grid that could trap anything moving through warped space. It was too dangerous, too experimental, and too powerful, so the Council forced Earth to shut it down. But humans had secretly kept the plans. Rhea pointed at the hologram. "These creatures disappear and reappear without engines. They move by folding space. If we create a net big enough, they won't be able to escape." "But Captain," Harrow said, "setting up something that large would take days." Rhea nodded. "Then we work for days." Another officer frowned. "And if the Council finds out?" Rhea's eyes hardened. "Let them find out. Let them complain. While they argue, we're the only ones saving the galaxy." For a moment, the room stayed silent. Then slowly, one by one, heads nodded. "Very well," Harrow said. "We build the net." Hours later, in the engineering bay, humans began assembling the StarNet anchors. The huge circular devices hummed with raw energy, forming gravity threads strong enough to pull even shadow shapes into a trap. Commander Lena, head engineer, ran diagnostics. "It's unstable," she warned. "It could tear space if something goes wrong." Rhea answered, "So can our enemy. We don't have a choice." Lena sighed but nodded. "Understood. We'll make it stable enough for a test." Rhea returned to the bridge. "Where do we deploy it?" Harrow asked. Rhea studied the star map. The enemy had patterns. They always struck worlds that were isolated, always without warning. Her finger stopped on an empty region of space, quiet, dark, and untouched. "Here," she said. "There are no life forms. If anything goes wrong, we won't endanger anyone." The ship moved toward the empty region. As they entered the dark zone, the crew felt uneasy. It felt too quiet, too still, too empty. Perfect for a trap. "Harrow," Rhea ordered, "release the first anchor." A glowing ring shot into space. It floated, spinning. Second anchor. Another ring deployed. Then a third. Then a fourth. Once all anchors were positioned, they connected, forming a huge invisible cage across the region. "Power rising," Lena reported. "All anchors synced." Rhea took a breath. "Activate the StarNet." A pulse shook the air. Thin lines of blue light flashed between the anchors. The net was alive. The crew stared, holding their breath. Harrow checked his readings. "Incredible. Captain, the net is stable. It's actually holding its shape." Rhea felt something she hadn't felt in days. "Oh." Suddenly, alarms exploded across the bridge. "Unknown energy spike. Something's entering the region. It's them, multiple signatures." Rhea's eyes widened. "They found us this fast?" Harrow looked pale. Either they sensed the energy, or they were already coming this way. Dark distortions appeared at the edges of the net, shifting, swirling shadows, the same shapes they saw near the ruined planet. Rhea whispered, "They're testing us." The shadows pushed against the net. Blue sparks flashed. Space bent. Energy cracked like lightning. But the net held. A deep, distant rumble echoed across the ship, like the creatures were roaring in frustration. Rhea stepped forward, her voice unwavering. "Good. Now they know humans can stop them. The shadows retreated for a moment, swirling angrily before disappearing into the dark. The bridge fell silent. Harrow turned to Rhea. Captain, this is the first time anyone has resisted them. Rhea locked her gaze on the dark horizon. This is only the beginning, she said. Now that they know we can fight, they won't ignore us. Her voice lowered. They'll come for us next. And she was right, because somewhere in the far, dark distance, something enormous had noticed Horizon's edge. Something older, stronger, and far more dangerous. The blast shook the ground as if the planet itself tried to warn them. Dust rained from the steel beams above, and the old lights in the tunnel flickered like dying fireflies. Commander Ryland steadied himself and checked the others. His face was calm, but everyone could see the tension hiding in his eyes. Outside, the enemy drone screamed through the air, firing bright streaks of plasma. Each shot hit the ground with a deep boom that echoed down the forgotten rail tunnels. The group had only seconds before the drones locked onto their exact position. Lena wiped the sweat from her forehead. They found us faster than I expected, she said, her voice shaking a little. They were tracking the signal, Ryland replied. We're not just fighting soldiers. We're fighting a network that learns. A thin silence spread between them, but it wasn't peaceful. It was the kind of silence that waited, the kind that judged, the kind that pushed people toward choices they were not ready to make. Zed raised the metal case holding the strange disc they discovered. All of this because of this thing, he asked. Ryland nodded. Because the galaxy wants something we barely understand. Another blast hit near the tunnel entrance. The shockwave knocked Zed against the wall. Sparks burst from a broken light, filling the tunnel with smoke and a sharp metal smell. We need to move, Ryland shouted. They pushed deeper into the underground line, stepping over old train parts and rails covered in dust. The tunnel curved forward like a dark throat swallowing them whole. Far behind, the drones kept firing, trying to clear anything that blocked their way. As they ran, Lena felt her heart pounding harder than ever. She wasn't trained to face alien weapons or unknown machines. She was just a researcher. But something inside her had changed. Something awakened when she heard the first pulse from the disc in Part 1. She could feel it again now. A faint vibration. A soft, rhythmic beat. As if someone, or something, was whispering from a place far older than Earth. Stop, she said suddenly. The group froze. What happened? Ryland asked. Lena pointed deeper into the tunnel. The disc. It's reacting. The metal case shook in Zed's hands. A pale light leaked out through the seams and formed thin glowing lines across the ground, like a map drawing itself under their feet. Ryland lowered his voice. It's showing us something. It's showing us a direction, Lena said. But before they could decide what to do, a new sound filled the tunnel. A slow, heavy clicking, methodical and cold. Those were not drones. Those were the hunters. Tall metal shapes emerged from the shadows ahead. Their armor was black and curved, and red lenses glowed on their heads like burning eyes. Each step they took created a low metallic thump, as if they carried the weight of entire worlds. Ryland took a breath. We're boxed in. Lena looked at the glowing lines under her feet. Maybe not. The lines suddenly shot forward along the rails and lit up a hidden doorway in the wall, one none of them had noticed earlier. The door slid open with a deep metallic groan, revealing a chamber bathed in dim blue light. Inside, Ryland ordered. They rushed through just as the hunters opened fire. Bright red projectiles cut through the air, slicing chunks from the tunnel walls. Ryland slammed his hand on the control panel, and the ancient door closed behind them with a final echo. Inside, silence returned. But it was different. Not empty. Alive. The chamber was circular, filled with towering stone metal pillars covered in symbols no human had ever written. Soft blue light pulsed from the walls like a heartbeat, matching the rhythm Lena felt earlier. Zed stared around. What is this place? Ryland touched one of the pillars. The surface felt warm, almost breathing. This is older than the cities above. Older than the wars. Older than every map humanity has ever drawn. Lena walked to the center platform. The moment she stepped onto it, the disc in the case began glowing brighter. The case unlocked itself with a soft hiss. The disc rose into the air, floating without support. Everyone watched with wide eyes as the symbols on the pillars came alive, spinning and shifting. Then a low voice filled the chamber. Not human. Not machine. Something between. Silence has been broken. The air vibrated with the words. The answer is coming. The pillars shifted again, creating a star map above them. Rylan tried to stay calm, but even he felt the weight of the moment. Who are you? What do you want? The voice replied. We are the Watchers. We guided the first sparks of thought across 1,000 worlds. We shaped the dark spaces between stars. And now, your world awakens. Lena stepped back, breath trembling. Why us? Because your silence ended the day you listened. The enemy wants what you found. They seek control. But you seek understanding. The map shifted again and pointed toward a distant cluster of stars. If you want answers, you must follow the path. But be warned. Silence is not your only enemy. Something older moves in the dark. The disc fell into Lena's hands again, warm and pulsing. Rylan looked at his team. This is bigger than a war, he said. This is a message. The chamber dimmed. The hunters outside started pounding on the sealed door. And the team knew their next move would decide much more than their own lives. The pounding on the chamber door grew louder. Dust drifted down from the ceiling with every strike. The hunters were trying to break in, and it would not take long before the old metal gave up. Commander Rylan looked at the glowing star map above them. We don't have time, he said. Whatever this place is, we need to move before they get through. Zed paced nervously. Move where? There's only one door, and they're right outside it. Lena kept her eyes on the floating symbols. The rhythm inside the chamber matched the beat of the disc in her hands. Soft, steady, alive. She felt a strange pull, like the chamber was guiding her mind toward something hidden. There's another way, she said quietly. Rylan turned to her. You saw something? Lena nodded. The symbols changed when the disc came down. They were pointing to something below us. Rylan stepped onto the center platform where she stood. He tapped his boot against the stone. You think there's a lower level? The Watchers would not guide us into a dead end, Lena replied. A heavy crack echoed behind them. The chamber door bent inward from another strike. They were out of time. Rylan placed his hand against the platform surface. The moment he touched it, the disc glowed so brightly that the entire chamber lit up. The symbols swirled around their feet, then formed a circle underneath them. A sudden drop in air pressure pulled at their ears. Then the floor gave way. The platform sank smoothly like an elevator, swallowing them into darkness just as the chamber door finally burst open above. The hunters rushed in, but the platform had already vanished below the floor. For a moment, everything was quiet. The only light came from the disc in Lena's hands, glowing like a small blue sun. Zed swallowed. Where is this taking us? Lena stared into the blackness around them. Somewhere the Watchers wanted to hide. The platform kept ascending until soft light appeared below, a pale white glow, calm and steady. When the platform touched the ground, they found themselves in a vast underground hall. The walls were smooth silver metal, shaped like waves frozen in time. Blue lines of energy flowed across them, pulsing with quiet life. At the end of the hall stood a massive archway with veins of light running through it. Looks like a gate, Rylan said. Lena walked toward it slowly. It's not just a gate. It's a conduit. Zed frowned. For what? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. As they approached, the disc vibrated again, stronger this time. The gate recognized it. Lines of light crawled across the floor, connecting the disc to the archway. Then the air inside the arch started to shimmer. Not like heat. Like reality itself was stretching. The hall filled with a soft hum, and the shimmering deepened into a swirling portal of light. It showed shapes of unknown worlds, towers floating among stars, oceans glowing in the dark, bridges made of energy, and living machines drifting like slow-moving comets. Rylan took a step back. Is this a doorway to another system? Lena held the disc close to her chest. Her voice was soft. I think it's a doorway to their memory. Not just places, knowledge, history, warnings. Zed let out a slow breath. We can't walk through that. We don't even know what's waiting on the other side. The hunters won't stop, Ryland said. They want the disc. They think it's the key to winning their war. If we stay, we lose it. If we leave, maybe we learn why they fear it. Lena turned to him. This is bigger than Earth. I know, he replied. That's why we need to see what they didn't want us to see. The portal pulsed again, casting long shadows across the silver hall. Then something unexpected happened. The voice of the Watchers returned, but softer, almost gentle. Every answer has a cost. Step through if you accept it. Lena looked at the others. We started this together. So we finish it together. Zed laughed nervously. I swear, if we get eaten by a star or something, I'm haunting both of you. Rylan offered a rare smile. If something on the other side tries to eat you, I'll shoot it first. The ground vibrated. Heavy metallic footsteps echoed above. The hunters had found the passage. The sound of their march poured down the shaft like a storm. Rylan checked his weapon. We're out of time. Move. The three of them stepped toward the portal. The light wrapped around them like threads of energy. Lena felt weightless, as if the universe held its breath. Just as they crossed the threshold, the hunters entered the upper hall. Their red eyes scanned the empty platform. Too late. The portal closed behind the humans with a soft ripple, and the underground hall fell silent once more. Light swallowed them. It felt like floating through warm air, soft and endless. Then the pressure changed, and the ground returned under their feet. The brightness faded slowly, revealing a new world around them. The sky was not black or blue. It was a swirl of silver clouds drifting across a glowing horizon, like dawn trapped inside crystal. Lena stepped forward first. We're not in space. No, Rylan said. We're somewhere else. They stood on a long stone bridge suspended over a sea of shining mist. Structures floated nearby, towering spires, broken rings, half-complete shapes. Some looked like ruins. Others looked untouched. Zed pointed. Look at that. It's like a whole city, but made of light. Then the voice returned. Not loud. Not commanding. Ancient. Patient. You have entered the archive. The last place where memory lives. A figure appeared at the far end of the bridge. Glowing, tall, and shapeless, almost like a being made of starlight. It had no face, but they felt its gaze. Rylan raised his weapon, unsure. Are you one of the Watchers? The figure tilted slightly, as if amused. A fragment. A memory echo. The Watchers are gone. Only their warnings remain. Lena felt a chill. Gone? How? The figure's voice deepened. The same enemy now rising in your galaxy once rose in ours. We fought until only silence remained. Zed swallowed. The hunters? They serve them. Yes. They obey the feeders, the devourers of suns. When the feeders starve, they send others to take worlds. They erase light so they may live. Rylan lowered his weapon slowly. So you opened this place to show us their history. To prepare you, the figure said. Because your kind will not run. The mist beneath the bridge swirled, revealing visions. Fleets of starships fighting in impossible battles. Worlds turning dark, suns collapsing under unknown force. Lena felt her chest tighten. How do we stop something like that? The figure spread its glowing hands. Light collected into a single point, forming a sphere that floated toward Lena. You cannot stop them alone, but you can be the spark that unites others. Take this. Lena caught the sphere. Inside it swirled countless shapes, codes, maps, star paths, warnings. She whispered, a guide. A plan, the figure corrected. A way to strike the feeders where they cannot defend. Rylan stepped forward. Why give this to us? Why humans? The figure's voice softened. Because when the Watchers first saw your world, they named your kind the unyielding. You rebuild what is broken. You rise after every fall. Your kind does not surrender. Zed exhaled slowly. So that's why they said the key was with us. The bridge began to crumble at the edges. The sky flickered. Rylan looked around sharply. What's happening? The archive has shared its last message, the echo replied. Its time is ending. You must return. Lena clutched the glowing sphere. Will we see you again? The figure faded slowly. If you survive, you will see what remains of us among the stars. The mist rose, swallowing the bridge. The portal behind them opened one last time, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. Rylan grabbed Zed and nodded at Lena. Go! Now! The three humans ran into the portal as the archive collapsed behind them. The world of mist vanished. They landed on solid ground again, the underground hall beneath the desert. The portal closed with a soft sigh, leaving only silence. Zed groaned. Next time we do anything like that, I want lunch first. Lena laughed weakly. If there is a next time. Rylan looked at the sphere in her hands. There will be. This changes everything. Above them, distant echoes of the hunters faded. They had left, confused when the trail vanished. Humans had escaped their reach. For now. Rylan straightened, fire returning to his eyes. We take this to Earth. We build what the Watchers couldn't finish. Lena nodded. And when the feeders come, we won't be running. Zed smirked. Let them come. Humans always fight harder when someone tries to take their home. The three walked toward the surface, carrying the last memory of a fallen star race. And far above, the night sky glowed again, every star shining like a silent promise. Humanity was no longer just watching the dark. They were preparing to answer it.